Here's how to spot stolen concepts by asking big picture questions. Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today let's continue with part 2 of 2 videos on stolen concept fallacies, which occur when arguments assume the truth of something they're trying to challenge. For instance, like we saw last time, many secular arguments against the Bible must borrow from biblical principles underlying truth, logic, knowledge, science, morality, and the value of human life. Now, let's see how to gently and respectfully identify borrowed principles by asking big picture questions. A helpful way to start is asking why an argument's topic is worth raising in the first place. For instance, let's say you come across an argument which objects to the Bible because of warfare in the Old Testament. You could first ask, why do we care about warfare? Well, we care because war involves the destruction of human life. But why do we care about destroying human life? Because human life is valuable. Okay, well, where does the value of human life come from? Like the last episode mentioned, a biblical worldview, not an evolutionary one, answers that. The value of human life is a stolen concept, and so is any moral objection to violence because, like episode 61 discussed, moral standards are ultimately founded in God's unchanging character. On that note, we might specifically be concerned about warfare in the Old Testament because it raises the question of whether God ever acts inconsistently with his own moral character. And you can find answers to that in the linked resources and episode 63. Meanwhile, let's look at a few more examples of identifying stolen concepts by asking big picture questions. Take the arguments that Christianity isn't worth believing because people who call themselves Christians have committed wrongdoings in the past, and because hypocrisy still exists in the church today. We saw how to think through such arguments in detail back in episodes 14 and 15. For now, we could identify these arguments' stolen concepts by asking, why do we care about Christians' past or present wrongdoings or hypocrisy? Well, we're concerned about wrongdoings and hypocrisy because they're, wrong. But where do the standards for criticizing wrongdoing or hypocrisies come from? Ultimately, from a biblical worldview. Well, here's another example. The Bible is wrong because science has shown that we descended from ape-like ancestors, not from one man who sinned in a garden. Okay, well, there's a lot you need to do to fully break down this argument, for instance, by defining the term science to show the difference between observational and historical science, which episode 16 uncovered, and by separating fact from assumption, like episode 10 explained. But right off the bat, you can identify the stolen concepts in this argument by asking, why do we care about what science supposedly shows? Well, we care because scientific reasoning is a means of hopefully determining the truth, and we want to believe things that are true. But why do the principles behind scientific reasoning work? How do we know that we can trust our senses and logic, or that we live in an orderly universe? For that matter, how do we know anything? Like episodes 83 and the linked resources explain, consistent foundations for truth, knowledge, logic, and science are based in a biblical worldview, not a naturalistic evolutionary one. Now clearly, this doesn't mean that knowledge didn't exist before the Bible or that only Christians can exercise logical reasoning, just that a biblical worldview supplies the basis for principles of truth, knowledge, and reasoning. Similarly, the point that objective morality is founded in God's character doesn't imply that atheists can't act morally, just that atheism itself doesn't provide a consistent framework for ultimately defining and upholding moral absolutes. It's also worth pointing out that the basis for principles like morality, truth, and logic can also exist in other creation-based monotheistic worldviews besides Christianity. Examining whether these worldviews are true and lead to conclusions that are consistent with themselves and the observable universe is another issue, which you can explore through the linked resources on world religions. With those caveats aside, asking big picture questions remains an effective tool, not only to identify stolen concept fallacies, but also to point others to the hope and truth of God's Word and to Jesus, who is the truth. For more on how to think critically about faith-challenging messages, you can access my other CT Scan episodes packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at Secular University. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia. Just wanted to let you know that if you like these videos, a free, easy way to help Answers in Genesis Canada produce more content and equip more people to defend their faith is to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and of course share these resources. I know you might hear that kind of thing a lot, but the reason these actions are so important is they inform social media algorithms to help these videos reach more people who can benefit from them. And that's especially helpful because advertising is super expensive. But this way, even media platforms which are often unfriendly towards biblical content become tools to promote gospel outreach for free. And if you're on board to share this message of biblical authority and want to give, you can also make a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter by clicking the link below. Thank you so much.